we could talk about the Super Bowl halftime show, but let's talk song. Today I'm going to be listening to Taylor Swift's new release. It's called The Fate of Ophelia, track 1 of her acclaimed album, The Life of a Showgirl. I know I'm a bit late to the party, that's because I was on holiday, but I still want to know how Taylor Swift and her co-writer Max Martin write songs. So without further ado, let's get going. Let's find the key. I don't know why, but I believe we are in the key of G minor. It certainly starts with G minor, but step 2 is let's find the chord progression. Something in that direction, right? Which would make it a 2 minor, 6 minor, 1, 5 thing. Interesting. So we are in the key of F major actually, or in the relative minor key of D minor, we don't really know. And the chord progression is a 2 minor, 6 minor, 1, 5. G minor, D minor, F, C, with a prolonged tail there. So it started as a thing where I thought, well, basically it's 1 chord per bar, but then there was an additional bar at the end. Nice little 10-second intro, and I believe, will continue with the verse. Let's listen to this.
I heard you calling on the megaphone. You wanna see me all.
It's interesting how Lady Gaga pays tribute to Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift pays tribute to Lady Gaga, because this is clearly a Lady Gaga line. I heard you calling on the megaphone, you wanna see me all alone. Interesting rhyme. Because megaphone and alone is not the go-to thing, let's listen to the melody development for a second, which is rather spoken, so not a lot of dramatic movement there.
On the megaphone, you wanna see me all alone.
And that's the additional bar that I was talking about, right? So the C remains for an additional bar, which is quite interesting, which kind of raises the suspense. Interesting. Also because it's the dominant chord of the scale. Bum, 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 ba-dum. So this seems to be the range that we move around, and not a lot happens apart from that.
On the megaphone, you wanna see me all alone.
So it's really that fourth interval. Bow, bum, ba-dum, ba, ba, ba-da-dum, ba, 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 ba-dum, ba-da-dum. And then with that intense thing, which is really cool that the melody would have the minor 7 of the chord intensifying the dominant feel. Really cool.
As legend has it, you are quite the pyro.
Again, really cool rhyming ideas. As legend has it, you are the pyro. Pyro going back to this alone and megaphone thing. So it's rather interesting.
You light the match to watch it blow.
And watch it blow. This time we kind of go back home, right? The blow rhyming with alone, certainly, yes. Really cool.
You'd never call for me. I might have drowned in the melancholy.
Same chord progression, so we are still in this 2 minor, 6 minor, 1, 5 thing.
Call for me. I might have drowned in the melancholy.
New melody, however, and new lyrics, which makes this kind of the pre-chorus, in my opinion. The lyrics are now, and if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. So again, in terms of rhymes, it's rather unusual and rather interesting. Melody changes completely, especially with that pickup melody. Remember that the verse melody starts after the chord.
I heard you call.
right? So on the end of the first bar, 1, I heard you calling, right? And here, instead, we have got a pickup melody to go to the pre-chorus.
And if you'd never call for me.
Really cool. I think it's the melody, right? And if you never come for me. Really, really cool. This time expanding the intervals quite considerably and making everything go to hopefully a very strong chorus.
I might have drowned in the melancholy.
Same idea. Right, so we establish a new melodic motif with this that repeats and then gets varied in the second half of the line.
Right before you lit my sky up.
Right, we build so much tension before the chorus. So second half of the pre-chorus with that melodic variation, we don't have this anymore, but instead
I swore my loyalty to me.
I swore, is it I swore?
I swore
I swore. Why don't I find the note? Swore, here it is.
I swore my loyalty to me.
So, I swore my loyalty to me. Totally new idea.
Myself and I.
Establishing that new motif with that me, myself, and I idea. Nothing really new, but cool in that context.
Right before you lit my sky up.
And what a cool prosodic element. Right before you lit my sky up and the melody goes up, 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 up. Right, listen to this.
Right before you lit
My sky up. Lit. Is that lit?
right before you lit
Lit my sky.
my sky up.
I think it's lit my sky up. Really cool. Is that the melody?
Right before you lit my sky up.
How cool is this? Lit my sky up with those, let's say, half-step movements from A to B flat and from E to F, really highlighting those two half steps that are in the scale of F major. Ba-dum, ba-dum. But at the same time, building tension like crazy because we land on the dominant C chord that then turns into the 2025 pre-chorus drop. Listen to this. And band disappears completely, right? We only hear that snare fill that then goes into the chorus with a little tiny pickup note. Two, in fact, all that. And then we go to a chorus that hopefully kicks our ass. That is brilliant pop music. That is what I want from Taylor Swift. What she had with this thing that I analyzed. I don't remember that thing with Post Malone. It was so, I don't know, meaningless in many regards. And here we've got the pop power that she can certainly convey. Same chord progression, right? No, I'm lying. It's not the same chord progression. Let's find the chord progression. Is what I hear, right? So B flat, F, D minor, C. 4, 1, 6 minor, 5. Let's confirm this. Again with that empty bar that prolongs that dominant C chord, which seems to be, let's say, a structural motif or structural element that comes back and becomes a hook in its own right. To have this additional bar both in the verse and in the chorus. Let's listen to Melody, which is cool because it's got that clear distinction between that all that time hook, right? Right, so going from G, just the scale up to the B flat, da-dum-bum, which makes a lot of sense because the B flat is also the first chord of the chorus, and this gets kind of answered with a very rhythmical thing, that is, I sat alone in my tower, you were just honing your powers, now I can see it all. This is the highlight. See it all. Before that, it was relatively static because we really hammer in that A. Let's look at the relationship between chord and melody. Okay, so it's really chord note melody that we have with B flat as the first rock solid note. That then goes to the A being the major 3 of the F major chord. Then we change chords and go to the D minor, where the A is the 5th, and then we've got this hook at the end. Ba-da-dum, landing on the major 3 of the C major chord, which in that case is the E. So very chord note and, let's say, hook aware and simplicity aware. Doesn't have to be bad. Ophelia certainly is the hook. Again, that thing that we had before with See It All now becomes the title of the song. Ophelia. And this is kind of the final full stop of the chorus, unless there is a second half of the chorus that I don't know about. Let's look at lyrics for a second. All that time I sat alone in my tower, you were just honing your powers, now I can see it all. Late one night you dug me out of my grave end. I love this idea of ending the line with end. Saved my heart from the fate of. Okay, so both weird and unusual line ends, but at the same time raising expectations, and everything goes to that Ophelia resolution. Let's see if there is a second half of the chorus, because there was something clearly going on at the end. So in terms of chord progression, we go back to the verse and pre-chorus thing. So we go back to... melody we don't know. It starts with a, I think, pickup melody, which would make it more similar to the pre-chorus than to the verse. Keep it 100. Okay, so this is what will be established as a new hook. But this is, in terms of melody, melodic rhythm and melodic development, I think nothing that we know from before. So it's certainly not this year. I heard you calling. And it's also not this year. And if you'd never call. So it's a new idea that may or may not be the post-chorus. We still don't know about the structure, which is something that Taylor Swift does a lot, right? Get rid of second verses and just do new melodic exercise on the same chord progression. I think that Keep It 100 on the land, the sea, the sky is that type of thing where she just develops a new idea on the chord progression that was already established. Also, really cool new melody and melodic hook. dance, your team, your vibes. Which is in fact only the F major chord arpeggio, right? With A, with F, and with C. Ba, ba, boom, ba, dum. And she has to go there because the chord then becomes the C chord where we don't have the A. Really, really cool. And this time we don't have the additional dominant bar. Okay. The Ophelia hook, right? The leitmotif, almost, one could say.
Fate of Ophelia.
Interesting.
Fate of Ophelia.
Right? Something that comes out of the blue and that we've never heard before. It's still the title of the song, but this time used in a totally different context. The Fate of Ophelia. Interesting.
The eldest daughter.
And this is clearly coming back to the verse. So what was that? Was that second chorus half? Was that post-chorus? Was that a totally new hook that nobody ever invented before? I don't know, but I liked it very much.
Ophelia lived in fantasy.
The hooky additional bar, the... It's also that summertime sadness, Lana Del Rey melodic thing, right? I like.
Full of scorpions, the venom stole her sanity.
Really cool lyrics. The eldest daughter of a nobleman, Ophelia, lived in fantasy, but love was a cold bed full of scorpions. The venom stole her sanity. This is not very Taylor Swift. Remember that Taylor Swift likes using colloquial idioms and writing lyrics the way that people actually talk to each other. This is certainly a new step in her career.
If you'd never come for me.
Bringing back the hooks is always a very good idea, and we now go back to that pre-chorus idea, which I like very much.
I might have lingered in purgatory.
This is not how people talk to each other. I might have lingered in purgatory. It's very poetic, it's very cool. It's something that I would rather expect from Lady Gaga than from Taylor Swift, but I like very much.
You wrap around me like a chain, a crown, a vine, pulling.
This was the me, myself, and I idea. You wrap around me like a chain, a crown, a vine, adding a new hook that isn't even part of chord melody or lyrics, but which is those claps.
Change, a crown, a vine, fire.
Again with that 2025 pre-chorus drop, it's a pop music masterclass, and I don't know about the rest of the songs, but if this is the benchmark, then the other songs have to kind of work a lot in order to meet this.
All that time I sat alone in my tower, you were just haunting your path, Ophelia. Keep it 100 on the fate of Ophelia. Tears locked inside my memory and
New idea. So everything up until that point is basically a copy-paste repetition of the first ideas, right? Verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and that freaky-dicky thing that starts with keep it 100 on the land and so on. Now we enter the realms of the primary bridges, and it seems like she wrote one, which I like.
is locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key, no longer drowning and deceived.
Chord progression from the verse and the pre-chorus. Melody and lyrics totally different. It's almost like a poem. 'Tis locked inside my memory. Also this 'tis, it's almost Shakespearean, right? So over the top poetic. But with the cover, with the life of a showgirl idea, it's something totally new that she can certainly pull off. 'Tis locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key, no longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me, right? This is so not Taylor Swift that it's brilliant. Melody, almost nothing.
Tears locked inside my memory, and
This is the melody. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Only you possess the key, no longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me.
Right? Always with those whole steps or half steps, depending on the region that we are in the scale. Really, really cool.
All because you came for me.
It's kind of the reverse of Ophelia. The Ophelia was, and the reverse of Ophelia is now, all because you came for me, ending on that very, very powerful high C melody note.
You saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia.
An interesting afterthought to the song, which of course comes from that idea, saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia, from the chorus,
Save my heart from the fate of.
but now is in a totally new context with piano only.
You saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia.
And ending on the strongest hook of the song. Ophelia. This is excellent. This was The Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift, and I'm sure we can take away valuable songwriting learnings. Songwriting learning number 1 is about a structural hook that is this additional dominant bar at the end of the chord progression, both for the verse and the chorus, which kind of course makes it, first of all, easier to write pickup lines, because you've got an additional line, or bar I should say, where you can prepare the ideas that go into the pickup line. Secondly, it's a good way to kind of let everything settle. Listen to this.
You wanna see me all alone.
So much room, so much air in the pre-chorus. We need that additional line to build the pickup line.
You light the match to watch it blow. And if you'd never call.
Okay, and in the chorus, this becomes...
Now I can see it all.
Right? So this background harmony vocals fill the gaps and repeat that see it all or Ophelia hook in that additional bar.
Now I can see it all.
Really good. Something that I haven't seen a lot, if anywhere, but something that I would apply to my own songwriting and that you should certainly as well. Songwriting learning number 2 is about the melodic motif that goes on top of the title of your song. In that case, with Ophelia, she managed to do that perfectly. Because we've got this, or, right? Ophelia, that then also gets recycled where I don't know where that was, where we turned that around at the end of the bridge, I think that was. So being aware of that very, very strong melodic things and additionally making it part of the title of the song is so hooky. That is something that in terms of melodic structure you should certainly consider when writing your own pop songs. And songwriting learning number 3, I could have picked 1,000, I believe, but I chose the primary bridge that creates contrast, although it uses the same chord progression as the verse. And it does that by including a totally new melody and a totally new lyric writing approach. It was this one.
Tears locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No.
Right, also with the band completely disappearing, leaving the piano alone, but especially with that very, very simple melody. Right, and also with the lyrics that are almost like a poem. They create so much contrast, which is what the primary bridge is supposed to do. So great job in that regard. And if you write your own primary bridges, be aware of the contrast that the primary bridge should provide if you want to write a killer pop song in the year 2025. And this was my live reaction and on-the-fly analysis of The Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift. I'm so hooked that I think I want to shoot the next reaction video for that album directly after this one. So bear with me and stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button and especially the bell if you don't want to miss other songs. Also like the video, also leave friendly comments. Also check my link tree, link in description, for further resources like the almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting or my Patreon page if you want to be an active supporter of that Let's Talk Song enterprise. I guess we've talked song. You can talk about the Super Bowl halftime show now. Bye bye.